Hi everyone, today I'm going to make a video, an intermediate level video, Million Lords video, that's going to cover the topics of how to find gray cities to hunt, walling, and also varying your attacks. So if you're the type of player that plays maybe 30 minutes a day, 60 minutes a day, and you've been playing a few seasons and you'd like to up your game to the next level, or you're a relatively new player, this video is perfect for you. Even experienced players may pick up a thing or two in this video. So now with the new balance change, accumulating gray cities is probably the most important thing in the game. Okay, so you want to get your kingdom power high, and the easiest way to do that is by getting gray cities. Now, a city goes gray when a player's been inactive for 5 days, exactly 5 days. So there are ways to find gray cities. You don't just look around the map randomly, right? You're not going to have much success looking around the map randomly. Okay, so even if you spend all day looking randomly, you might find a few cities just out of pure luck, and that's it. So there's a technique to finding gray cities. So first of all, you want to look in areas, mostly towards the corner of the map, where inactive players are more likely to be. So if you see large groupings of players with city level 1, for example, well, then then you know they are likely to go gray inevitably, because most players, they just check out the game one time, never play again, and in 5 days they go gray. So the next thing is to figure out, when are they going to go gray? Well, the way to figure that out is to scout the troops. So you can check out how many troops they have, multiply that by 120, because it's multiply the hourly production rate by 120, and that would be the minimum number of troops that they would need to go gray. Now, don't forget that they may have been barely active, so they may have played on and off for a while without ever gathering their troops, and so the actual number might be a lot higher, but that's the minimum number required. Okay, so also, you want to have basically some map control. You want to have cities all over the map so that you can reach these gray cities more easily. And when you finally do find some gray cities, you want to send the minimum number of troops possible. It's very important, because other people are very likely to spot these gray cities at the same time as you. So personally, I like to find the level 1 cities, and even when they're far away, I can send less than 1,000 troops, because that's the minimum required to take a level 1 city generally, although sometimes you will die if they have more troops than expected at the city. But I just send out 900 troops at a time, and usually they can get there within a few minutes and beat anybody else. I've seen players, even good players, sending 100,000, a million troops to a level 1 city. It can take half an hour or more, so they have almost no chance of getting there. So that's pretty much it for the gray cities. There's a limit of 30 gray cities a day. You want to try to hit that limit every day, basically. And the limit resets at 1 a.m. Pacific time. So if you've already hit your quota for the day, but there's still a lot of gray cities around, which is unlikely now, because everybody knows the importance of gray cities now. It's not as easy to get as before. But if there are some gray cities left and you've hit your quota, well, you can stay up until 1 a.m., or at least when you wake up, you'll know that your quota is reset, and you can go after those gray cities if they're still available. All right, so that's it for gray cities. The next thing is about walling. So when you wall, you are trying to guess how many troops the attacker is sending. So the easiest way to guess is to look through your history and see how many they sent the last time. Now, you have to adjust. Don't forget, they may have leveled. And so if they level, you may have to add a few levels to your wall. Not only that, they may be tricky, and maybe they didn't send all their troops on that attack. Although lower level troops typically, lower level players typically do send all their troops, because that's all they have. They would lose without sending all of their troops. So when you wall, if you wall successfully, you get basically a free wall out of it. So it's important to, you don't want to overwall, you don't want to underwall, you want to get it perfectly. If you overwall, you're wasting gold. You don't want to spend more gold than necessary walling. And if you don't spend enough gold, you lose. So you want to spend just the right amount. Okay, the perfect wall is just 1 or 2 levels more than necessary. If you know exactly how many troops they have, you can do the exact level necessary to spend the minimum gold, and then the next time you wall, you'll get even more gold out of it. So the walls can pay for themselves if you succeed often enough. So when you wall, it's important to have max caution. It's not that hard to get 51% caution. So you're getting 50% of the money back that you spent walling. So you don't get any money from what other people spent walling. It's only the gold that you spent walling. So that way it's unexploitable. So it's very important to max at 51%, and it's not that hard. It costs maybe, if you're just spending maybe $100 or $200 and some luck, you can do it, or you could just grind for a few months, and eventually you'd get good enough items to max caution just with items. And of course you would need Weapon Master too in order to automatically switch to these defensive items whenever you're attacked. So with 51% caution, you can really keep your wall economy going. What you want to do is you want to generally get 2 to 3 experience per gold spent. That's what I consider a successful wall. So it's tough to do with higher level players sending over 1 billion troops. Generally, you're not going to get 2 to 3 experience per wall. You might get 1 experience on the first wall, and then a little bit more on the next wall before you get beat on the next wall. But with lower level players, when they attack you, you should pretty much always try to wall. Not only because it's easier to wall them, they have less troops, they also have usually lower attack bonuses. So they might only have 100 or 150% attack, whereas top players often have 200% or more, unless they're spreading their points out with Recruiter, as people often do now. But anyway, it's much easier to wall players that are weaker than you, and you always should, because if they beat you, you won't be able to get the city back. That city is probably gone for good unless they get high enough to where you can attack them back. So you definitely don't want to lose cities to lower level players, and if you don't wall them, they'll just keep getting stronger and keep attacking you. So basically, with lower level players, always look at your history and keep in mind, try to remember which player has how many troops and how long ago it was, and then you can always check because sometimes you don't have time. Sometimes you might just log in and you might have 20 seconds, and you just have to remember what level you need. One thing you can do if you have absolutely no idea and it's a brand new player, there's the best way to decide what level to wall. This is a trick that's kind of more of an advanced trick. I think not that many players know this trick. You check out their other cities and what level their other cities are. So, for example, if there's a player who's a level 65 player and his highest level cities are level 85, well, walling to 90 should be enough, right? So you wall just a few levels higher than their highest level city, and that's usually enough. You can go 5 levels higher is a good amount. You can go more or less depending on whether you want to take a chance of losing to them or whether you want to take a chance of wasting too much gold. So that's pretty much for walling. So the last topic is varying your attacks. Now this is very, very important. You have to be unpredictable with your attacks. If you're predictable with attacks, you'll get walled every time. So you need to basically shuffle your troops every time. So if you only have one city which you're launching attacks from, then you better send all your troops basically and hope that they don't have enough, or know hopefully that they don't have enough gold to stop you. But ideally, if you're launching attacks without using all your troops at smaller cities, you want to have multiple cities where you can reorganize your troops so that you can send different varying amounts every time. For example, a common amount is between 100 million and 999 million, right? You don't want to send 100 million every time, and you don't want to send 999 every time, because you'll get perfectly walled if you do that too often. You don't even want to send 100 million sometimes and 999 sometimes. That's also not good variance, because the way to beat that is to just assume that you're sending 100 million every time, you see? So if you send 100 million half the time and 999 half the time, people can just wall you assuming that you're sending 100 million and wall you perfectly half the time. And the other half, they'll still get gold back from caution. So you want to send sometimes 100, sometimes 300, sometimes 999, sometimes 600. That's the best way to do it. And it's easier said than done, because you need to have cities close together to do it. Because if your cities are too far apart, people can scout you and see how many troops are left over. Okay, then they can figure out, just using basic arithmetic, how many troops you sent, how many troops you have left. If you send out 8 attacks in a row and they happen to scout you while you're sending the 8 attacks, which is possible because it takes a long time to send 8 attacks. And if they're active after the first attack, they'll scout the city, they'll see how many troops left. They can figure out pretty accurately how many troops are in almost every attack. So they'll be able to wall, especially if, suppose you have a billion troops, okay? And you send out 6 attacks between 100 and 999 million. Well, now they know that each one of these attacks is going to be small, right? At most, probably about 200 million. It may be, if you wall every attack, assuming that each attack is 200 million, then maybe only one attack will get through, or you could just beat them all if they're evenly spread out, right? So you need to vary more than that. That's very important. So that's it for this video. Let me know if you'd like me to make some more intermediate videos. Up to now, my videos have been mostly advanced videos, but maybe these videos will appeal to a wider audience. All right, thanks.